You know, history has this uncanny way of showing us moments where everything looks fine on the surface, but underneath, a fire is raging. Today, based on our source material, we're going to tackle a really chilling question. Are we, right now, living through the beginning of a new world war without even realizing it? Let's get into it.
Yeah, that smoldering fire idea really hits home. We see all these conflicts popping up around the world, and we tend to think, oh, that's over there, it's contained. But we've seen this movie before, haven't we? When the big powers start putting their own interests and their weapons ahead of diplomacy, that's when the whole world needs to hold its breath.
And look, this isn't just some wild speculation. The Council on Foreign Relations, these are serious people, they've actually circled the year 2026 on the calendar. They're arguing that all the conflicts and the political moves we've seen over the past few years, they're all setting the stage for a much, much bigger showdown.
So, where are these fires actually burning? Right now, the world is like a giant tinderbox, and there are sparks flying in just about every corner of the globe. Let's take a quick tour of the major hotspots. First up, Europe. What started as the war in Ukraine has, let's be honest, morphed into something way bigger. It's basically a full-blown proxy war between Russia and the entire NATO alliance, and that standoff has massive global implications, pulling in allies from both sides and raising the stakes for absolutely everyone. Then you jump over to the Middle East, which is a powder keg, as always. That long simmering rivalry between Israel and Iran, well, it's not simmering anymore. It's boiled over into open conflict, and you're seeing it play out on multiple fronts, in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. And in Asia, wow, things are really at a boiling point. You've got the huge standoff over Taiwan. You've got constant confrontations in the South China Sea. It's created this incredibly volatile situation where just one wrong move, one single miscalculation, could lead to something devastating.
So you see all these different fires, right? In Europe, the Middle East, Asia. The big question is, are they actually separate? Or is there a thread, something connecting them all? Well, the evidence points to a pretty terrifying reality. These aren't separate fires at all. They're all symptoms of one single, escalating global confrontation.
And that, right there, gets us to the absolute heart of the matter. A new global divide is forming, and it's turning all these regional conflicts into a worldwide struggle for power. Let's take a look at the two opposing camps taking shape.
The battle lines are becoming crystal clear. On one side, you have the US-led alliance, the established powers. But on the other, you've got this new challenger bloc, and they are all united by one common goal, to reshape the world order and knock America from its top spot.
And this is no secret backroom deal. They said it out loud for the whole world to hear. Back in February 2022, Putin and Xi declared a friendship with no limits. That was a direct challenge to the West, a clear signal that the old rules of the game are over.
And look, this alliance is built on way more than just words. It's built on a mountain of cash. Despite all the Western sanctions, trade between Russia and China has absolutely skyrocketed. China has become Russia's economic lifeline, buying up its energy and supplying all the tech it can no longer get from the West.
Their cooperation goes way beyond economics. They're flexing their military muscle together, running joint drills, flying coordinated bomber flights. And they're using their power at the UN to protect each other diplomatically. They're even building up their own alternative world order, strengthening groups like BRICS and the SCO. That's the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, to directly challenge Western-led institutions.
Okay, so as the world splits in two, all eyes are on the nations caught in the middle. And maybe the biggest wild card of them all is India. For a long time, everyone thought India would be a natural Western ally, but now it's charting its own course, and its choices could really tip the global balance of power.
This timeline really tells the story of how India's relationship with the West has started to sour. It started with their refusal to condemn the Ukraine war, then came friction over tech layoffs, then India started buying up massive amounts of sanctioned Russian oil. All of this has created a growing rift, pushing India to rethink its place in the world.
So yeah, that whole concept of India and the US being natural allies, it's pretty much dead in the water. A new reality is setting in over in New Delhi. The US is starting to be seen as an unreliable partner, and India believes it has to forge its own path in this new, messy world.
So what does India call this new strategy? They call it multi-alignment. Sounds nice, right? We're friends with everybody. But what does it mean in practice? Well, if you look at their actions, it looks a lot like a strategic pivot towards Russia and China, and that's a move that could have huge consequences for everyone.
Okay, so we've seen the hotspots, we've seen the new alliances forming. Now let's just boil it all down. Why are so many experts genuinely so scared right now? There are 4 big reasons.
Think of it like a ladder, an escalation ladder to a new world war, and we're already a few rungs up. First, any real trust between the superpowers has completely evaporated. Second, a brand new arms race has kicked off. Third, all those regional conflicts we talked about are starting to merge into one big global struggle. And fourth, the very institutions that were designed to keep the peace, they're basically powerless to stop.
Let's talk about that new arms race, because this one is seriously terrifying. For the first time, literally the first time since the end of the Cold War, the total number of nuclear weapons in the world is actually increasing. Every single nuclear power is modernizing and expanding its arsenal. It's a chilling echo of the past.
And if you want one number to really keep you up at night, here it is. China is adding roughly 100 new nuclear warheads to its arsenal every single year. That's not just a statistic. It is a stark reminder of the incredibly high-stakes game being played on the world stage right now.
And here's maybe the scariest part. The guardrails are gone. The United Nations, the body that was created specifically to prevent another world war, has become little more than a bystander. Powerful nations just do what they want, settling their disputes with bombs and drones instead of words and treaties.
It really all comes down to this one sobering reality. When diplomacy fails, it creates a vacuum. And as history has shown us time and time again, that vacuum is always filled by violence.
So, where does that leave us? With the world dividing into hostile camps, a new arms race heating up, and diplomacy on life support, the very foundations of global peace are crumbling. The question really isn't if a new world war could start anymore, but what might be the spark that finally ignites the flame.